ears to know what notes you're playing all the time. Yeah, so I was just talking about like how right now we're really just embracing the visual part of guitar as opposed to reading from the page when you're playing. If you sit down and there's like 4 chord changes, just usually what happens for people is like they'll go over the changes and just when they get it, they'll start playing. Just like think about it for 2 to 5 more times than you'd naturally be inclined to. Whenever you sit down with one of your songs, you learn the first section. It's usually right there where we have this like fight-flight response that goes like, yeah, okay, I've got that, I'll get it down. Whereas if you kind of just did it a few more times, you'd have it forever as long as you revisited it. So that's stuff I'm saying to everyone. Either way, we decided that you're going to learn the names of the open strings, and that, you know, knowing them in order is just like step 1. So first thing to do, you know, just go over it in your head: E, A, D, G, B, E. Roll a die 1 through 6, and that'll be the part where it actually really sticks because you'll think about them in different orders. 2 will come up and you'll just have to think B string, or even if your brain goes E, A, D, G, B, just having thought about them out of order will just sink in as autonomous concepts. So that's boring, but it's like just a formality. And the same thing with learning these note names. We decided to key on which are on the 2 bass strings, like G and C at the 3rd fret, 1, 2, 3. And that makes kind of sense that would be G and C, because that's G and C. Notes right there. And we came up with the term root, which totally means G and a G chord, C and a C chord, C and the C major scale. The root is C, so fully just means that one. So kick-ass. So right now, it's like a 4-dot geography test that you're going to give yourself. So first, like, stop the video and work on just the very first few things that we were talking about. Just try to apply it to some of your things that you do, memorizing chord changes, learning the names of the open strings. And then we're going to go nuts and learn 4 note names, G and C right here. And then we kind of decided, like, we'd know where the 5th fret was, even if everything else requires counting, just setting up a, like, alright, that's the 5th fret. Because it's easy to go 1st fret, 3rd fret, but so there's a new landmark too, just knowing where the 5th fret is. Cool, so then the same exact process, give yourself a 4-dot geography test, where you're like, which one's C, which one's A, which one's G. So the complete opposite of going G and C and D, where you have to think about G and C and A to be allowed to think about D. One suggestion for that is start on the 5th string instead of the 6th string. Like, be like D, G, A, D, just call it random ones. So right now, just have a really boring, like 20 minutes or half hour if you need it, of memorizing those 4 note names, keeping in mind this is no different than being like, this one's called circle, this one's called square, and memorizing those. We've been doing stuff like this our whole lives. It just seems like there would be a workaround for this, but we're just learning some note names. And like we're saying when we move into talking about bar chords, it's kind of everything it takes to play everything everywhere, even if you have to work it out a little bit. Meaning that, like, you know, here's G, and our G chords we're just learning, so G sharp comes up, you go G sharp. So, hey, yeah, there's 2 types of bar chords, and we started talking about that around 3:45 in your video, which I'm just a little timestampy thingy. My handwriting's trash, but it's like the letters and numbers that you're used to. There's 2 types of bar chords. The first one are the E-shaped chords, where we're hitting all 6 strings, and this really is a good 90-95% of what people play when they're playing rhythm guitar, some kind of E-shape or some kind of A-shape. So E major looks like that, and E minor looks like that. So really quick, go back and think about a song that you knew each one of those chords in, or one of your songs, and just be like, okay, there's an E, there's an E minor. If no such example exists in your head, no big deal. E major, E minor. So then when we're doing our I'm a Human capo, playing that same shape. So this is a G right here. So you're going on G major, on G minor, and our power chord part always starts with these 3 fingers, not these 3 fingers. So your natural inclination is totally what we're doing. A little tip on tricking yourself into doing it all as one shape rather than going this then these is to make yourself do it the complete opposite way. Like right now, subconsciously or otherwise, your process for doing this is going, this is Arthur, my associate, he's very friendly, is going this finger, then these fingers. Probably like when you first learned to see, everybody went like that. So the way to trick yourself into doing it at once is make yourself do it the other way. Make yourself go, okay, this, then this. And pretty quickly you'll find yourself meeting yourself in the middle. So kind of have to like reset and start the concept over. But so just have a really painful, however X minutes of just trying to make yourself go this, then this, and then see if you don't start just going right to it. Kick-ass. So like I'm a human Keiko, that's a G. This is G major. That's G minor. We talked about the middle finger thing and cutting your nails so that there's no touching. You do need to just cut your nails in general probably and keep them like beneath your nail bed. But we both have a little bit of real estate up there, unlike some people, which is an advantage. Kick-ass. So like, hey, here's A. This is an A major chord. This is an A minor chord. I'm still just using those same two shapes. This is A sharp major. So this is B, and this is B minor, so all of this stuff works. We're really just thinking about two total shapes right now, E minor shape, E major shape, so mess around with that some. The other type was the A-shaped chords, where we're just picturing the instrument as being 5 strings, though we sometimes do hit the 6th string. We'll be like navigating, so to speak, finding a note on that string when we're playing the A shapes. So, you know, it's like A. Well, if you do it like with your ring fingers, just for sillies, that's the way we do it as a bar chord. So this is, yeah, C, that's C, totally. Sounds like the same thing as C major. And then what does an A minor chord look like? It looks the same as that major shape up here. So that's C minor. Then there's chords like C major, where there's a first position chord version and a bar chord version. But every time C minor comes up, it's going to be exactly this. There's not really a good way to go in first position. So just some of the bar chords, like that just is C minor. That's the end of my conversation. Whereas tons of them, it's like G minor. That's another one where there's no open position way to do it. So just some of them we've got a bar chord and an open chord version. Some of them we don't. So just mess around with your A-shaped chords a little bit. You're just going like, alright, this and this and that. So when you get comfortable with that, just mess around with all 4 shapes. And you can tie this into your memorizing note names. Just be like, okay, A minor. And be like, A minor. That can be a little confusing because we were talking about A shapes a second ago. I mean, E shape, A minor, or A flat minor, or whatever, just to make it easier. But regardless, you know, F, G, A, and then everything in between can be a little second of deductive reasoning. Awesome. So, how to hold the guitar. We want to sling your arm over it this way, which puts us in this position where we're like wrist and arm as opposed to this steadying it, which is like down, down, down. And whatever feels comfortable, you're going to be best served to have your feet like flat on the floor or some kind of version of that. Or legs crossed is chill. But either way, we want the instrument not to feel like it's way over there. And that's where just putting your, putting your guitar right on your leg is what's up. Also realizing that you can, if you spread your legs, it becomes less reach. Like the whole thing, expands like, oh, okay, I can totally do that now. But either way, the main thing was our elbow, realizing that it's been attached to your body for every single thing you've done so far. And that it shouldn't be. There's going to be total, time. When you're playing around the 5th fret, that's when you'll be going, straight in at the instrument. But back here, we'll start to feel all, hard to reach. So that's been what's up with that. Boom, like that. So we think about, guitarists sitting on stools. You can actually use a desk chair as, training wheels for this, if you want. But either way, there we are. Bar chords exist. So move them around some. All the stuff from piano still makes sense. We know this is D, so you're playing D minor. You're like, alright, what about F minor? D, D sharp, E, F minor, and it'll totally still be the right answer. But even if you just think about like the G1s and the A1s just moving up and down at a couple frets, that's some stuff we needed to put in place to have the conversation what chords are in a key, which would be this whole like using those couple shapes just to cruise through and play sets of changes. So there's what we did today, and also like bring in a song and kind of try to memorize it like we were talking about, where you approach it like there's actually a test on your song, and imagine if it's like an outline, you would go, I'm going to learn the first verse, I've got the first verse, and this can include actually playing it, stopping, playing it, stopping. I know it's a pain, and it's like anti what's fun about playing music, but again, it's like we're in our memorization stage right now. So the idea is just biting off little sections that are small enough where you can actually get them in there and pick songs that are like most familiar to you. If you have a bunch of covers you do the same thing. That might actually be easier, because especially if it's songs you've heard your whole life and you really do know the lyrics on. So, you know, you just have to memorize the songs and stuff. It kind of is that simple, and probably just a matter of like what order you think about things in. So, am I memorizing or am I playing is the least fun way to do it. The most fun way is just like play the whole thing. So yeah, and tablature is never something we sight read from. It just said this stuff happened in this order. It doesn't denote rhythm or anything. It's a grocery list, you know, and then we add concepts like rhythm. So totally, if you're working on something that's like left hand, let yourself screw up rhythm. If you're working on rhythm, cut yourself some breaks over there. If you're working on lyrics and you screw up the guitar part, no big deal. Just kind of try to consciously be focused on one part of it. And totally like just bring me in any song next time. And like I was saying during the lesson, however well you perform it, totally not going to matter. I'm going to hear what you mean.